Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode discussing civics and how government works. Today, I'm joined by State Senator Becky Massey. Senator Massey, thanks for joining us. Can you please tell us about yourself?
Well, I'm a Knoxville native, grew up here, had to go away to high school because my dad worked up in Washington, but if you saw a little movie called Remember the Titans, that was my high school, my junior year. But I've always been a Knoxville native. I've lived here my whole life. I tell people I just went away to high school, not college, because I was home all the time. And graduated from UT, got married right in that range, started our family. We have 2 daughters, 1 granddaughter, and that's 10. And then for years I ran Sertoma Center serving adults with intellectual disabilities before I went to the state senate.
How did you get involved in state government?
Both my dad and my brother were involved. They were U.S. Congressmen, John Duncan and Jimmy Duncan. So I grew up around it. Daddy was actually elected mayor of Knoxville when I was 4, but I was the helper, not the one that was going to do it. I helped with events and some of the reportings and things like that, but then was very involved in the community. Co-chaired Dogwood Arts Festival, coached softball with my husband for 22 years, something like that. Helped in a lot of different ways. And then, but it was really through Sertoma Center. And I was going to Nashville advocating for adults with disabilities, people that really didn't have a voice, and saw that the process was working good over there. The people were good that really cared about our state. And it just kind of grew on me.
Tennessee is structured much like the federal government in that you have an executive branch, the governor, you have a judicial branch with the Supreme Court and the criminal justice system, and then you have the legislature. 2 chambers, excuse me. So you have the House and the Senate. Mm-hmm. Can you explain the difference between the 2 chambers in the General Assembly, please?
Well, there are 33 senators and there's 99 House members. So right off the bat, I get to do the work of 3 people. The House members run every 2 years. The Senate runs every 4. So half of the Senate is up every 2 years. So half of our Senate runs when the governor's running. Half of the Senate runs when the president's on the ballot. Working with only 32 other people, you get to know each other, you build relationships, so there is a lot of respect among each other, and there's the civility, which you don't see up in Washington as much because there's so many more people. It's hard to build those relationships.
What are your duties, especially compared to the House members?
Well, duties are very similar. You represent the constituents, in my case, the constituents of Knox County. But you're also representing the 7 million Tennesseans that are out there. And everybody is assigned certain committees. In the Senate, we just have the full committees. There's 10 full committees. I'm on the Health Committee and I chair the Transportation Committee. In the House, because there's so many more, they have a subcommittee process, so they can have their subcommittees are smaller, so they can get 2 bites at the apple. They can discuss it a little bit more, because once you get to the bigger full committee, it's hard for everybody to ask their questions and everything. But as far as we're all in Nashville January through the end of April, 1st of May, 4 days a week. We go into session on Mondays and Thursdays, and later on, once bills have kind of moved through the process, we'll start meeting on Wednesday morning. On the weekends, we've got meetings throughout the district, and we've been together a lot today and over the weekend. And then we go back to Nashville. In summers and off session, we're here, and we may go to Nashville a couple times a month for meetings, or to some conferences with other legislators to learn from them. But basically, we all work together as a team, and there's not a lot of difference.
Can you explain the process of how an idea becomes law in the state of Tennessee?
Okay. They come to me by citizens, by industry that is affected by it. I've passed several bills that college students have brought to me. In fact, we just did a constitutional amendment on the incapacitation of the governor there is an organization for college students called the Tennessee Intercollegiate State Legislature. A student brought me that from TISL. It was a TISL bill. And now it's in our Constitution. Another one that was brought to me from a student from Maryville College that made American Sign Language a foreign language credit in our high schools around Tennessee. So people bring you the idea, and then you look at it, you get it drafted into legal form, and it's filed. You find that every bill has to have a House sponsor and a Senate sponsor, and so then it starts through the process. You know, they can go at the exact same time, they can go kind of at different times, but ultimately they have to meet up and make sure that every single word on the two bills is exactly the same. So it would pass through the main committee. Let's say the governor's transportation package that I'm going to be carrying this session. It will go through the transportation committee, but because it's got a cost involved, it would then have to go to finance. If there's not a cost involved, it can go straight to the floor. And then it's voted on the floor by the full Senate, and like I say, then ultimately makes a vote on the House floor, and then it would go to the governor for their signature, and then it becomes law.
Senator, thank you so much for your time, and also thank you for your service to the state of Tennessee.